Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Sports Code. This is our second podcast of the week. But this time, we're going to fully include Dylan. We're going to be talking about the League of Ireland, the big roundup. It's been a very hectic weekend in the League of Ireland with some of the controversy, I'm sure, has been seen all across the news. Kind of painting the league in a bad light, especially at such a positive time when the league's doing so well. But we're joined by the same group. Would everyone like to introduce themselves again?
My name's Dylan.
Darren.
Owen Wayne.
Now, to start the podcast, I wanted to bring in Dylan about Bohs. Obviously, his boyhood club is finally on top of the table, doing really well. Dylan, what do you think?
I thought more impressive wins, but yeah, Derry away. It's always a hard place for anyone to go. Very hostile environment. Over the past few years, I've seen a lot of controversy, especially last year with the firework incident that took place when Bohs played Derry away. Seems to be quite a rivalry between them, and going up there, Derry, they've done some good business. Obviously, James Clark joining from Bohs and kind of looking to start the league off strong, and Derry haven't done so. Kind of with the players they brought in, you'd expect them to be doing a lot better. Obviously, the marquees and James McLean coming in. Bohs with an impressive 1-0 win. I think Bohs were the standout team, as unbiased as I can be. Yeah, Bohs were just a better team. Definitely should have had a few more goals. Derry had maybe one or two decent chances. One coming off the post in the first half, and it missed sitter in the second half, which were their only real chances on goal. Bohs kind of controlled the game and played them out of the park, and it was very impressive. Dawson Devoy, beautiful free kick, a man who hasn't been on free kicks for Bohs. It's usually left to Jordan Flores because of his, how should I say, his prolific scoring from the free kick spot. But definitely, definitely a good way to go about it. Bohs sitting top of the league on goal difference now, just in front of Drogheda. Very good start to the league, but now Bohs face Rovers on Friday in Dalymount. First game in Dalymount this season, and kind of luckily coming off the back of Rovers dropping points to Dundalk. Obviously Dundalk getting a red card didn't do them any favours, but they were able to come back from that and get an equaliser right in the last minute. So it'll be a good game on Friday now to look forward to. But I'd say the main thing and the main news coming from the League of Ireland would be the Loud Derby and Dundalk and Drogheda, which is always, a very tense match. It's always, the fans hate each other, and the teams seem to have kind of a disdain towards each other. There was a big incident with Dundalk have just had Oriel Park done up, and a really nice new Astro pitch, new floodlights, and the Drogheda fans threw a lot of players onto the pitch, and even the pitch caught fire at one point at the start of the match, and obviously deliberate by Drogheda fans kind of to do it, but a lot of damage was done, and this caused the Minister of Sport, Patrick O'Donovan, actually paused funding for AstroTurf pitches for LOI clubs following the incident, which I feel is quite unfair, as it's not really a fault of the league, rather a public order problem, and a garden problem, because flares are always used in matches and they're always seen, despite there being a ban, and you can't really blame that on the league and cut funding for the league and for these clubs, when it's not really a club issue in that sense. And I feel like it's very contradictory for Patrick O'Donovan to say it, as he was at the match and posted about there being a great atmosphere and posted a picture of the Flares. So on one hand, you have him saying it's a great match and it's a great rivalry, and that there's an amazing atmosphere, was showing the players, and then straight after, kind of going back in himself and saying, right, I want to pause funding for the AstroTurf pitches because of this incident. But I know, Owen, you have a few opinions on it. I want to know what you'd like to say about that.
Yeah. It was a decent game. Obviously, it was overshadowed by the events that happened with the fans. But yeah, like in fairness, I mean, it's become this big thing. But the thing is that like a lot of people are saying, kind of being cheeky in the comments or whatever online, saying, well, it shouldn't have an Astro pitch anyway in the League of Ireland, blah blah blah. I think personally, obviously you shouldn't be lighting fire to any pitch. That's not right. And there was another thing where like they released a statement after the match, the joint statement, Dundalk and Drogheda, saying that a 12-year-old or something had been burned by one of the flares or something. So obviously that's not good. You don't condone that at any game, and obviously both the clubs don't condone that. But yeah, no, it's just the Drogheda have come out since, and they've updated their stadium policy now for their ground, and they're saying they're going to crack down on flares and face coverings and offensive banners and racial whatever slurs and stuff aren't allowed, which I thought was I don't know why that's only in their updated stadium policy now, but yeah, no, they're cracking down on all this antisocial behaviour now. So it'll either do two things: they'll either not enforce it, and things will kind of stay the same, or they will enforce it, and the atmosphere is going to take a hit. But obviously, the League of Ireland, it's a very passionate league, and I think Drogheda fans, the famous 45 Ultras, they're known up and down the country for the atmosphere that they bring home and away. So it's it's always crucial to have a good atmosphere at games, but when it comes to antisocial behaviour and violence and stuff, it's not what you want to see. And I think the event up in Oriel Park, I think it's been blown out of proportion a little bit, but yeah, I mean, still, you don't encourage that behaviour. And a decent game was overshadowed. I mean, it was very important that Drogheda got that point anyway at the end. Conor Keeley with the goal. So yeah, no, it was a good result for Drogheda, but obviously overshadowed by the events with the fans.
What did you think of the Killian?
Well, we've seen, if you go to League of Ireland games, if you go to the Cup final, obviously you see flares in most games, but they're not really causing extensive damage. If the league can crack down and flares are used to create a better atmosphere, but not thrown on the pitch, whatever way that is, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the different methods they could do, but it's something I'd like to see, because obviously if you go and you see this light show of flares and an atmosphere and crowds are bouncing up and down on a Friday night, that's what you want to see in the League of Ireland. I think that's what separates from different leagues. But look, obviously a very staining incident on the league especially, and it definitely made kind of almost not worldwide news, but it did spread across social media very quickly of these kind of scenes, such a small stadium such as our Oriel Park, and this kind of flare incident.
Just to say about Patrick Donovan there, because he did post on Instagram, he did post a picture. I believe he's taking it down now, but you can find it on Google. I'm looking at it right now. He puts a picture up of the flares and of the scenes and says, "Oh, it's a great promotion for the league. It's great to see kids getting out. It's great to see all this and that," and has a picture and is applauding the atmosphere. And to completely go back on what he said and make them remarks of saying it's hooliganism and saying it's all this and that, I just think it's very hypocritical. It's very
Well, he's contradicting himself.
contradictory.
Exactly.
He's contradicting himself, and he's kind of, if he's gonna, you can't say one thing and do another. He's kind of at the start, when there wasn't much outrage about it, he's on the side of kind of promoting this and having this as a staple image for the league. But then when things get turned against him, he's immediately, "Oh, I want to cut fun and I want to do this." I just think that's really poor from him. Well, there's already searches. I mean, I get searched every week on at the Daily Mount. There's a lot of people are getting searched. Players aren't meant to be in the matches, but there's nothing you can do with it. It's kind of it's a tradition at this point, and it does it makes a big statement. It's something you don't see everywhere. I do think it's something kind of that separates the league from others, and it definitely does add to the atmosphere. But I think the damaging of the pitch can't be overlooked because it does seem deliberate. Despite how you want to say it.
Yeah, no, I saw a lot of people saying it was deliberate online and that they planned to do this because they opened the pitch that
Yeah,
day or the day before. I don't know if it was it's like Dundalk and Drogheda obviously hate each other, and they just secured a draw against them, and it happens everywhere that players get thrown on the
yeah.
pitch. So I don't think they were thinking all right, we're going to do this today just because it's a new pitch or whatever.
I think it will be. I think Friday. I think Bohs and Rovers. There's always a big
Yeah.
display from both fans at that. So I think a statement could be made there, with flares or without flares.
Mm.
Kind of have to see going forward. I think it adds to the atmosphere of the league, but at the same time, it's like everything. There's risks, and it's kind of on people themselves. Because if someone throws it on the pitch and someone gets hurt, unfortunately, the club's going to get blamed. So it's more on people themselves, kind of not to make a show of themselves and their club. Because at the end of the day, if you're going to support a club, you're going to represent your club. And if you're going out of your way, throwing stuff on the pitch, damaging it, that's only going to be bad on the club and the league.
Yeah. Look, I wanted to bring in, obviously you mentioned Bohs Rovers. Rovers obviously with a 1-1 draw last night against Dundalk in what I describe as a very poor result considering the red card. Look, Rovers have obviously been stumped this season with the postponement of their early games in that regard. Obviously they're catching up for it now. Obviously they took the lead in the 19th minute from Roberto Lopez, who's I think just so reliable in that Rovers defense. You just know he's a threat in both boxes. And obviously coming up with a goal. At a point in the game which you'd think they were cruising at, and you'd think, well, this is, they'll go get 2 or 3 now. The red card obviously comes. What's got the second yellow in the 76th minute, and then you go, okay, well, Rovers need to get a second now, kill the game off, which they didn't. I actually thought, they made a triple change in the 75th minute, which they took Noonan, Jack Byrne, and Graham Burke all off, kind of saying, look, we're settling into this game now. We believe we can win. Probably not the right substitutions in that time. And obviously they were costed from a Daniel Mullen 90th minute equaliser, which is annoying.
Well, nobody really knows who it came off. Cornwall, Mullen, or if it's an own goal, but
Yeah, very true.
Yeah.
But it's a stumping kind of Rovers kind of gain momentum to start the season, which has already been stumped obviously with the postponements, but obviously big game. It'll be interesting to see how the Rovers attack does against a very solid Bohs kind of back five at the moment. They've kept clean sheet all season in all 3 starting games. I just want to ask you, Dylan, what do you think of Bohs start the season defensively? Obviously, coming out the blocks with 3 clean sheets is a real statement.
yeah, Bohs have been really impressive their first few games. The addition of Patrick Hickey and Sam Todd and Senna Mullen, Dara Power, we've brought in a lot, and I think with who we've lost, we've kind of gained in the quality of players we brought in, and obviously the first 3 games, 3 clean sheets. I don't know the last time Bohs got 3 clean sheets in a row, to be perfectly honest with you, but it's really good going forward. Kind of talking defensively then, Bohs have had a switch formation wise is the last few years, Bohs have never really strayed from a 4-2-3-1, and now they're kind of experimenting. They're going from a solo striker to having usually James Douglas-Taylor and Colin Whelan up top, and that I'd say that the change of the dual strikers is it's really working well in Bohs' favour. Yeah, you have Colin Whelan, he's really kicking on now. He you know, the last person to score a hat trick before him was himself last season against Waterford away. And kind of after that, he got injured and got halted a bit. But having him on good scoring form, James Douglas Taylor's working really well. I think it's great having players like kind of Sam Todd, Patrick Hickey, two really big lads kind of in the defence. They can get the ball and they can play it out well as well. Senna Mullen's a very good passer of the ball as well. Kind of playing the ball forward. Bohs are able to work the ball forward very well from the back. And their passing altogether is really, really improved. It's from what I've seen last season compared to now, it's night and day. Bohs are controlling matches and kind of not really letting teams get the ball and have a chance. Where last season it was a lot of kind of overload on set pieces is where we kind of strived from last year, and it's kind of nearly what we banked on, that and counter attacking. But now our forward plays has improved so much, and I think the midfield has been phenomenal. Kind of the way we start. If it's a five back with Flores in the back, he coming into the game, it seems to go to more of a 4-4-2, and with Tierney usually starting as a 10, moving out to the wing or something like that. They're seeming to keep the two strikers up top, and depending on how control of a game they are, they change that five back into a four back and push forward and seem to really be overloading teams. And going forward, I think looking forward to Friday then, it's kind of how Rover can handle that. Obviously, Rover had two games quick succession there, Friday and Monday. Friday they got a good win over Pats, but Pats have had quite a poor start to the season, I would say. Despite only having two games in, they haven't looked the best. And kind of seeing where they can go forward from that. I think Rovers still two games in. It's very early days, but I think it'll say a lot of Bohs can turn Rovers over now on Friday.
Well, I wanted to bring in Dara to talk about Finn Harps. Dara, what do you think of the game?
Great to see you. First home win of the year early. It was a good one of the students, 2-1. Johnny Bradley with a good opener. Good to see him getting a goal. He's a good young player. And then he was part of the second goal as well, a brilliant assist to cracking volley from our centre half, Conor Turish. It was good to see a few of the new lads in. Alex Fanley got into the team of the week on debut, which is it's always good to see. And it was a great bounce back from our last Athlone, which was a disappointing way to start the season. Hopefully we can kick on now. Harps really this year need to be pushing for a playoff spot. We're still very far away from the Harps we used to be, but hopefully with these new signings and the new young players coming in, we can hopefully push on to playoffs and hopefully get a promotion this year, which will be nice.
And are you confident with this young squad that can be achieved?
I am definitely. We have some great young players in the club. Two of which were in the Ireland under-17s team. Three of which, with the young goalkeeper and then the two lads outfield. I think Kevin McHugh's a brilliant manager. He was ahead of the youth for a while, so he knows these young players and he knows what they're capable of. And I think he's probably the right man to really use them in the places that are going to help the club best. And hopefully, if the lads kick on, if they really get a bit of momentum going, I mean, Finn Park's a hard place to go, so hopefully we can use that and get a few away wins and push on to the playoffs this year. So yeah, pretty confident with this season.
Another game I want to bring in was obviously the Shells and Galway game, and the Waterford and Sligo game. The interesting thing about the Shells game was that Shells did have 20 shots on target. 20 shots in general. They did only have 4 on target. Obviously showing attacking intent, also showing a lack of being clinical in front of goal, and obviously then conceding only Galway only had 2 shots on target, only conceding from one of them, showing obviously a lack of control in the game. It was a tough game to watch in the sense that neither team really got hold of the midfield. Obviously, Shells were a lot better going forward, couldn't convert. But and you can say the exact same for the Waterford game in the sense that both both teams weren't very clinical. Couldn't get control of the midfield as well. That kind of showing you really why all the teams I've listed in those 2 games haven't won yet this season. And not much else to write home about to do with those games. Now looking forward into the next games to come in the League of Ireland. Obviously we spoke about the big game that's coming up on Friday night. Obviously Bohs Rovers. Is there any other game still in Owen that catch your eye?
Well, I've already spoken about balls there, but I kind of feel like I'm taking Owen's spot here, saying Drogheda and Shells. Drogheda's a big test for Shells. Drogheda started really well. Drogheda look really well. And Shells they haven't done as good business as you'd expect for a team that you'd assume would be trying to push for the league. They haven't gotten the start they've wanted. 2 draws, 2 games. Going away to Drogheda, I think it will say a lot about how Shells go about the season on Friday, if they're able to turn Drogheda over. And also, like, Shells they don't really seem to be moulding together well. They're not playing kind of as well as Shells have played, because coming from the team 2 years ago that won the league, they kept a lot of the players, and they've brought Harry Wood back, who's a big player to get back, but it seems like they don't really have much direction. They're kind of playing the same football, and I don't know, Jay. I don't know. Just kind of seems like a bit of a purgatory they're in, where they want to push forward, but it seems like they don't have the facilities to do so. But Drogheda definitely be a big one for them, and see how that goes for them, kind of for going forward. If you want to say, no, I know you're a bit of a Drogheda man.
Yeah, well, to be honest, now I can't really see Shells putting that much of a game up against Drogheda. Everybody's looking really good for Drogheda now, especially Conor Keeley. Like, he had a very good game against Dundalk, and Thomas Alloa, he's been playing very well recently as well. Obviously, it's in Drogheda, so that's going to be another big factor that plays a part. And I think, after last week's events, I think the fans will be very rowdy anyway with everything that's happened. I think and as well with the results that have gone before, I think they'll be looking to keep this momentum going. And I think it'll be a tough game for Shells anyway. Drogheda are looking like a different team this year anyway, and I think they'll put up a very good game against Shells and probably get the win, in my opinion.
Now, Dara did reference obviously his bit on Finn Harps, and obviously bringing a small bit into the first division. Cork and Athlone both unbeaten to start the season. Obviously, both have played 2 games, but kind of establishing themselves early as promotion contenders. Obviously, Cork looking to come back up. Dylan, would you say they're the main 2 contenders?
Cork, bit of a yo-yo team at the moment. They got back up. Kind of, Sean Maguire was a really strong sign, and Sean Maguire and Rory Keaton, who were both prolific when they played in the League of Ireland. And Rory Keaton was one of the main men for Pats before he went over. Kind of would have expected them to stay up when they were up, and they didn't. Obviously got to the cup final, which says a lot, but couldn't win it. Cork, I'd say, if they can keep it going the way they are, they can definitely get up. But I think they have quite a problem with retaining their attendance. Their attendance has been slipping on Turner's Cross. Up to the point where they were talking about kind of having their matches being played in their training ground because they couldn't afford the upkeep with how little they were getting in. And I think that's definitely something that's going to hinder them, because they can't just keep getting people coming back when they're up in the league. If they do get back to the Premier Division, and if it's going to start going bad again, it starts dropping off. It's not really sustainable. And going forward, then, if that's the way it's going to keep going, they can't keep playing at Turner's Cross. Are they going to have to leave? Kind of goes like that. Athlone haven't been back in the first division, in the Premier Division, sorry, for God, I wouldn't know. Probably since my granda was playing for them. But Athlone seem to be doing quite well. But at the same time, they've started after the Premier Division. There's only 2 games in, but two wins out of 2, you can't really complain about. Kind of Cork will be the team to watch and see them going up. But early doors, anything could happen on the Bohs.
Well, thank you very much for listening to this League of Ireland roundup. We'll be back with you with a very similar format next week. Won't be on Monday as usual. We'll try and get a Tuesday slot. If not, we'll try and get a few podcasts out later in the week anyway, with this same similar format. Thank you very much for listening. I've been your host, Ciarán Reardon.
Darren.
Dylan Smith.
I've been Owen Wade.
And we hope to catch you in the next one. Have a good weekend.